guys, it's Coach Jackie. So I wanted to make this short video because I have a lot of girls asking a lot of questions about tryout season. So as we know now, softball in the club level, travel level is now year round, right? So we are just kind of ending up our tournament ball season into June and July. But guess what? Early August, late August, early September, we have tryout season coming right around the corner. So I'm getting a lot of questions about how to master that tryout. What do I have to do? What are coaches looking for? How do I go there and just crush it? So I have a list of the top 8 most important things for you to take into consideration when you're going to tryouts. So the first point that I want to bring up, I'll count this as number 8. We're going to count backwards. Number 8, practicing beforehand. You know, you're right now in the midst of your teams and stuff, but if you feel that you're still kind of lacking in some sort of skill, whether it be backhands, forehands, your drop steps, maybe just running, do a little bit of extra practice on your own. Those little things are going to help you work out the kinks, shake that little bit of rust off, especially if you want to be trying out for a new position on the team. If you play third base, but you're trying out for a left field position for another team, you might want to brush up on those drop steps, those safety stops, getting to the ball, getting underneath the ball, and working on your outfield throws. So practicing beforehand on those certain skills, and just keeping yourself up in between that break of tournament ball and tryout season, keeping brushed up on your skills is going to keep you, making less errors at the tryout. So number 7, having the proper gear with you. Your cleats, your helmet, your bat, your glove, your face mask, wearing softball pants. You never know how a tryout's going to be run. You never know what skill the coaches are going to have run at that tryout. You could be sliding, and if you're not wearing pants or protective gear, you're going to really hurt yourself. Or you're going to actually kind of hesitate when you're going for that slide. Outfield, if you're going to be diving wearing those pants, if you don't have your face mask, you're going to hesitate charging those ground balls and going for a softball hard, right? So when we are going to a tryout, it's really important to have that gear ready. Now, not only for your safety, but also your preparedness, right? If you forget your cleats, if you forget your glove or forget your face shield, what are you going to be forgetting on game day? These are the kind of things that coaches look out for and say, how well prepared are you for this tryout? Do you bring all your gear with you? Are you carrying that gear to the tryout? Don't let that coach see mom and dad hike your bag to the dugout, right? Coaches are looking for players who are independent and who can hold their own and are responsible for their own gear and bringing them to show up to practice games, etc. Number 6, making sure you hydrate. I just posted the other day about how important hydration is. You should be drinking at least around like 90 to 100 ounces of water a day. And more than that if you are consistently working out, if you're currently playing in tournaments, or you're sweating a lot during practice, or you're outdoors and you're mostly active during the day, you need to be drinking more than 100 ounces of water. What this looks like is over 8 water bottles, right? So if you look at the water bottles or a glass of water, which is around 8 to 12 ounces, you need to be drinking around 8 of them a day. Right? Now, this isn't just straight water. You want to make sure that you can get your water intake from your fruits and everything like that, or your very water kind of saturated fruits. But hey, your body's made up of over 70% water. If we are dehydrated, our body's not going to be able to perform at its best. And I know a lot of us have felt a little woozy out in that sunlight. If we're playing on those long days, tournament ball, if you don't drink a lot of water, you can really feel it. So staying hydrated makes your body perform at its peak, right? This also goes along with eating well, right? Don't go to tryouts on an empty belly. Don't go to tryouts not drinking your water the night before or the day before, or the day of. So making sure that you're hydrated is super important. It's gonna make you perform at your best. We all know that feeling that if we are hungry or we're very lethargic, it's probably because we haven't eaten or haven't drank water. We know what we feel like when we play like that. So we don't want to show up to a tryout not prepared and ready to perform our best. Okay, number 5, introduce yourself right off the bat. Make the people there know who you are. This is really important for coaches, right? So when you are going to try out for a new team, a lot of times coaches don't know ahead of time who's coming with some players. Sometimes they have an idea if you reach out ahead of time, hey coach, do you have an open spot in your team? I want to come try out. But if you are trying out for a team that has open tryouts, not a lot of times do the coaches know who's showing up. So it's important, if you want to really make a lasting impression on that coaching staff, introduce yourself right off the bat. This includes your name. Hey coach, I'm Jackie. I play pitcher and third base. I've been playing softball. I currently right now play for team 123 or whatever team ABC. But I'm really looking forward to trying out to your team because this is the kind of team I want to be on, right? Introducing yourself that way. The coaches right off the bat know your name, where you're from, what positions you play, and you can express your sincere interest in the team right away. Coaches want people who want to be there, right? So if you right off the bat say, hey coach, I'm so pumped to be here. Just want to introduce myself right off the bat. I'm excited to try out for your team today. This is really going to leave that nice lasting impression for you. Okay, next up, showing up on time. Now, I know a lot of you girls who, or at least the girls that I work with, they're not at the age where they can physically drive themselves. So parents, this is for you too. Showing up early. One of my biggest rules is, or one of my biggest things is, hey, if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. If your tryout starts at 2 p.m. on Saturday, you better not be rolling up with your cleats off and all your equipment still in your bag at 2 p.m. You really want to try to aim to get there, especially if you want to take hints from the last point by introducing yourself early. Get there at least 20 minutes early before the tryout starts. This gives you enough time to stretch yourself out, to get your gear ready, and also have that conversation with the coaching staff and introducing yourself. So you don't get a lot of time to do that. And plus, listen, if you're showing up late for the tryout, you're gonna show up late to practice, you're gonna show up late to game day, and coaches really don't like that. They want their players there who are ready to go, who are committed, who are prepared, right? We talked about that. So really kind of getting in the habit of showing up to your tryouts early is gonna be huge for you. Now, when we talk about attendance, showing up, I know a lot of teams have they have series of tryouts. So they have 3 dates where they offer tryouts, right? It's really important for you that if you can make all 3 of them, be there, right? A lot of teams have what's called a mandatory attendance where it's like, hey, out of these 3 tryouts, you need to at least make 2, right? Don't stop at 2. If you can make all 3, get there all 3, right? So like I said, I'm gonna harp on this all the time. Coaches wanna see players who are committed and that show up. If you're interested in joining this team, act like you're already a part of it, right? Get there every single tryout, show up, and make sure you're early. That way you can have that conversation and be prepared for when tryouts start. Okay, number 3, doing your research on the team. This is really, really important for my older girls. Not so much my younger ones. When I mean older, I mean 14U to 18U. And even college players, those of you who are trying to walk on your college team this year, doing your research. How did the team do last season? Are they losing any players? What positions are open to try out for? What kind of tournaments did they play? Where do they practice out of? Where is the team based out of? How long has the team been or that organization been a thing, right? How many levels of play, meaning how many age levels does this organization offer? Right? Just knowing that you did the research shows me as a coach that, hey, 1, you want to be here. 2, you're genuinely interested in the organization. And listen, you're accountable, right? If I need you to research or study up on a certain topic or to get yourself better, I know that you're gonna want to do that and that you are able to do it, right? That you're physically capable to do that. And it's actually really impressive when a student comes up to me and says, hey Jackie, I know that you've worked with so many girls over the last 2 years. I saw you started your business, full-time last year. I'd be like, wow, really? Like, that's super impressive, right? So if you show up and you're able to have a conversation with the coach a little bit more in depth than just what you offer as a player, they can't shy away from that, right? So that's just a really important part that I like to include in there. Now, I have this at the top, one of the top of my list, just because at the end of the day, when we talk about, in my next few points, I'm gonna talk about how, skill is one thing, but effort and attitude are more. Effort, attitude, accountability, going beyond the whole physical level of softball is actually really more impressive to a coach than a lot of the physical things. Okay, number 2. Actually, number 1 and number 2 are actually, in my mind, a little bit of a tie, but let's talk attitude, right? So everybody knows that if there's a negative attitude or a negative energy on your team, it's very contagious, right? So we know the effect it can have on us if a teammate has a bad day or if they are bringing their off the field drama, negativity onto the field, or if they mess up a ground ball and all of a sudden they're pouting and crying. you know how that can negatively affect everybody else on the team. Now, we don't want to be that person, right? Coaches are looking for team players with a positive attitude. No matter what position they're playing or put in, they're always like, got it, coach, let's go. People who cheer on their teammates, that say, hey, great catch, great effort, great job. Those cheerleaders, coaches are looking for those kind of players. Having a really well positive attitude absolutely 100% complements skill and talent as a player as well. So all of those physical abilities that you may or may not have, right? A great attitude just is the icing on the cake, right? You wanna show up ready to play, like you wanna be there, right? Tryout season, it's hot out, right? We have the humidity in August and July. It is not enjoyable to be outside, especially if you're wearing softball pants. We know how hot it can get, but hey, your attitude is 100% one of the most important things when you go up to try out, right? So getting yourself, if you're having a bad day, leave it off the field, right? If you're having one of those days, mentally prepare yourself to go in there with a good attitude. Listen, not everybody has the best days. You know, some days I wake up and I just wake up on the wrong side of the bed, or nothing in my day is just going too well. I will never ever bring that on the softball field, because I know personally how it can affect my teammates and how it can really affect just the overall chemistry of the game or the practice, right? So coaches are not looking for someone who, they mess up and they throw their glove, right? If you mess up, that's fine. If you bobble a ball, you miss a pop fly, you strike out, that is totally fine. Listen, that's part of the game. But something that you can control is your attitude. And coaches want to see girls who are heavily committed, 100% with a positive mental attitude backing it up. All right, so number one, effort. Effort is 100% the number one and most important things coaches look for. How hard are you going to go to that ground ball? Are you going to dive for that ball? How are you running and then you're not stopping until you hit that base, right? So effort, it really, really means that you are showing up as a player, right? And that effort means that you are taking it seriously as well. So we're also looking at things that are not on the field. Hey, are you running on and off the field? Are you running from dugout to your position? If coach says, hey, I want you to run full speed here, are you actually running full speed, right? Really, really getting into the effort portion is what coaches look for. Hey, if your skills aren't quite there, but you're really trying your hardest and 100% to get there, hey, coaches are there to coach. Coaches will help you develop that skill. But it's hard to teach and coach effort. It's hard to teach a girl to want to do something, right? So if you show up wanting 100% to do it, and you are there to show up with 100% of your effort to try your 100% best, right? Coaches will love that. So it is something that when I'm working with my girls and I'm working with athletes, the first thing I look at, hey, I can tell how quickly a girl's gonna develop in her skills just by the effort she's gonna put in, right? So coaches really, really look at this, and this is 100% number one most important thing for you. So when you're ready to go to tryouts, show up with a positive attitude and get out there and go gung-ho, right? So make sure you show up ready to work 100%. I want to make sure that you girls are putting yourself in the strongest position to succeed at that tryout. Now, this list is not gonna help you get that spot. There is no guarantee that you're gonna actually make this team. But hey, I'm telling you, you have better chance of following these 8 steps. You're gonna put yourselves in front of that coach. You're gonna be on their radar. You are gonna make yourself a player that they will not resist, a player they cannot say no to. So, if anybody else has any other tips, comment below. I'd love to hear your feedback as well. So best of luck to everybody at tryout season. Comment below what team you're gonna try out for too. I'd love to know.